surprised if Mossad and their drones, like being launched, didn't have a huge effect on that, on some of these, like, I'm not going to give components of what some of these things are, but for them to be able to go over and knock out some of these key components and shut those down and render them inoperable. When we started seeing some of the Iranian fighter jets getting launched, that F-35 isn't necessarily dogfight. It's not really what it's designed for, right? So as those things start to pop up on their radar, they're able to fire freaking, from multiple kilometers away and just start knocking aircraft out of the sky if they absolutely need to. So F-35s can dominate every piece of air power that Iran has. So to me, that's what it's at. But the other thing that I look at as well, because I've seen what appear to be images of ballistic missiles and aerial defense systems that are getting knocked out that didn't seem to be manned. And this is the part that really started to make my head turn a little bit. If they're not getting ready fully to go in operation, they're not being manned, but they're getting struck, is that because people are abandoning their equipment, that they're essentially defecting when the word went down on all the leadership that was getting knocked out? So, still waiting to see.
I want to just quickly jump in. Yes, James, I'm going to go to you. I just want to give a quick...
But I have an answer for you, side note.
Yes, I just want to give a quick misinformation alert. There's a video circling around showing apparently claiming that it's an Israeli pilot that his plane was shot down, took down, and there's a parachute video. That video apparently is from when Turkey shot down the Russian Su-24. That is not from this recent event. I just want to highlight that, everybody, because I saw it, people are going to start tagging. That is not from, if there's a report, there's been reports in Iranian Telegram channels indicating an Israeli jet was shot down, and then this video populated. That video appears to be from when Russia lost its Su-24, not related to the current event. Sorry. James.
Guys, can you give me 2 minutes? I need to drop off. I just want to make some closing comments, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go on, Hazem, and then I do want to jump in. We've got
not to beat a dead horse, but the whole question regarding North Korea helping, there's no way they can help. I mean, the only way they can help is sending missiles by sea, and it's not the ship that will be taken out if that attempt happens. It's the whole port that will be taken out. The other point I want to make regarding, it's a very important conversation that was happening earlier regarding the oil facilities. The oil facilities are not on the target list at this point for multiple reasons. The U.S. side President Trump has been clear all along that those should not be hit because they affect global markets. On one end, they affect American public opinion. But also, there's a more important aspect that any attack on oil facilities may open, at least in the Iranian regime's mind, the opportunity to strike oil facilities in the region. And that is something that nobody in the region and nobody in the United States want. A final point, actually, to that parachute video, and I actually have been wanting to mention this for a while. As somebody who have been involved in coordinating air campaigns, I am beyond impressed at the capability, discipline, and technical discipline by the Israeli Air Force. We're talking about a very complex campaign with thousands of miles being flown continuously by each platform. Not a single incident. That is unprecedented. There needs to be a huge kudos to the IAF for being able to maintain such campaign with no incidents, no catastrophic incidents, no.
I think jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Breaking news.
I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. I do want to break in. This was shared. What was this? A couple minutes ago. So this was IAF spokesman, Brigadier General F.E. Deffer press conference was cut short due to military headquarters going on heightened alert. While taking questions at the Kitover military headquarters in Tel Aviv, a loudspeaker can be heard announcing that the base is going into defensive standby alert, meaning that it is preparing for an attack. As of now, no ballistic missiles have been launched from Iran. This was 6 minutes ago, but the Kira did go into heightened alert during a live press conference. James, I saw your hand up. And then there's others, but James, I don't know if you have other breaking news.
Okay.
Or voice, go ahead.
No, it's just that it connects to the question you asked. And before, sorry James, but I'm sure he will ask me before the discussion goes to somewhere else. You asked how can it be that Israeli drones can operate on the ground on Iranian soil while the Iranian drones are not being that successful. Now, if we already established that we have Mossad teams and other human assets that are being there on the ground and of course helping this entire operation, well that they have actually managed to launch those drones undetected from all these mobile launching pads, then you have to understand that whatever forces that are on the ground, they also have probably portable jammers. So they are like sort of like a manpack that can disrupt radio frequency, GPS signals, telemetry signals. You know, they can do GPS spoofing. So they could basically have spoofing devices. They can be next to the Kashan Air Base, for example, and disrupt communications there. That will be very hard for the Iranian regime or the military to launch anything over there when there is no communication. You have that also in Israel. They're doing it sometimes in Israel when there is a conflict with Lebanon. I don't see a reason why they won't be able to do it there and physically compromise antennas, cut power to GCS. So, I mean, might explain what. And if I had to bet on it, I would put a suitcase of money that that's the case.
So I wanted just to talk quickly about, thank you, voice, a couple of points. So let's not forget the attack started around 20 hours ago, a bit less, 18 to 20 hours ago. It has been a continuous back and forth with the time it takes to go back, refuel, restock, to weather again, and strike. It started with an assassination of the top leadership, and then everything from there were attacks on locations, like important military locations, especially related to the ballistic missiles and to the nuclear program that Iran has. What I want to talk about is right now we're starting to get what seems to be a wake up from the Iranian media apparatus on Twitter and on other areas start talking about shooting down planes, and then their air defense is starting to work, drones being hit, and the possibility of an attack in the next couple of minutes or couple of hours. All of this is like, I think 20 hours, not too late, but we were expecting a faster response, which shows how Israel took the Iranian by surprise. What I want to add is, please make sure that when you get information like the drone, like the F-35 needed, I wanted to ask Matt this question if he's available. Do you really believe?
Sorry, James, just to jump in, mate. Voice, you just said that apparently there are missiles now being launched towards Israel. That's coming from her because she's obviously in Israel and she's received an alert, nationwide red alerts in the coming minutes, according to Home Front Command. That also comes from Took News. So it looks like the Iranian response has begun of some form now. We wait to see exactly what, and obviously for everyone in the.
Let them come, Fyodor.
I have a question.
We're giving you as much updates as we can, but
just let me. Yeah, thank you. Let me just ask the question to Matt. Matt, what's the probability that the defense system could shoot an F-35 or an F-15? The Iranian air defense system could shoot one of those planes down, because that's what's being reported right now.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, no, that's their best shot is going to be the S-300s from the Russians, and they're rumored to have the S-400s. So if they had S-400s, that might be their best shot at getting it done. But I don't think they actually have. I only saw one report last year that Iran possibly had them. But what we've learned from the Ukraine war about the Russian S-300 system is that they're not nearly as formidable as we had thought they would be. So I would put very low probability that the S-300s are going to be able to take care of that. Plus, again, when we go back and we start talking about the different intel on the ground that was able to assess it and all this happened, it's just highly unprobable.
Well, following up on that, what do we know about the Iranian capabilities then? What do we know about the Iranian capabilities on responding and protecting Iran?
In which way? Was it
Responding back towards Israel? Is that your question?
One, responding back to Israel, and two is protecting whatever is coming from Israel.
Yeah, protecting what's coming from Israel, their best shots, and it's likely Israel's actually launching a bunch of cruise missiles and whatnot from
Right, the Iranians, then Israel can do it to any other country in the region. That's
Wait me real quick, bro. I got a question. I need tech support.
I will always have hope for Palestine. Within the borders of Palestine, we can deal a heavy cost to the Israelis as long as we're not expelled. Other than that, everything happening outside of Palestine is a complete frustration by everybody, the Turks, the Arabs, the Iranians.
Look, there's a kite.
I know it's great, but
Don't let it sit here. We don't know games. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left.
May I make a quick comment? I confused about all this. So I went into the history. And I understand that Hebrews were there up before. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody, because it was part of the Ottoman Empire. And the Brits, it's also the First World War, the Brits, the French, and I think there was a combination.
Ashkenazi csak mindjárt siessünk.
Dumb as fuck.
Yeah, smart Europeans, which were born, they didn't got any children.
targets. And again, if they do have a nuclear warhead, now would be the time for them to use it, to be perfectly honest, because the regime's in danger of losing power, right? Like, desperate times call for desperate measures type things. But quantity definitely is going to end up being one of those things that Iran is going to be looking at using in order to get those missiles through. The question is how accurate are they going to be? And that's where I tend to get motivated with the accuracy of these missiles. If they end up trying to take out communications like the side, they try to have that determination. They launch 20 out opposed to just
the offer of a state and determined together to wipe out the Jewish state. I'll mute now and you keep going if you...
Real quick, so I can stay organized. Don't forget what you're going to say, Jay, but remember, we're talking about apartheid, right? Is it happening or is it not? I'm trying to, hold on, Jay. Just trying to keep track, if anybody wants to help make sense out of El Normo's counter-argument, if you talk over me, or I'll respect this. I'll put you to good. So, great. I think that, somebody wants to help me. It did make sense. If it makes sense to anybody else, that'd be great,
Okay.
Because I'm gonna mark it down as apartheid.
Yeah.
And I hope you know what you're talking about. I think you just got it.
Yeah, I mean, Norm is right to characterize the situation as very complex and tragic.
Someone guys speaks in short that.
Yeah, I was about to go there.
very fair person. I don't think it justifies anything with what's going on in Gaza right now. It's a tragedy and it's horrific.
Is it apartheid or is it not?
I think so. I think it is.
Alright, so you can't get that in the question. Thank you.
It,
Hopefully you can chime in something else.
oh well. You want specific examples? Yeah, sorry, I have to do my homework.
I need somebody that's supporting your members counter-argument, so that's what they fair, figure out how to get this point at a time.
Well, yeah, I mean, Gazans can't enter Israel and come out of Israel freely.
That's not what I'm requesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
By the way, 40,000 Gazans came into Israel for a day to work. We paid them 10 times what they would get paid in Gaza, and they returned home. Those people later invaded and slaughtered the people who employed them, and the Gaza envelope is a huge.
I'm marking as a part.
I wouldn't stereo sweeping generalization.
Alright, so we've got it, it's apartheid. So I have that noted. Let's move on to whatever else. I guess Jay, you wanted some clarity before we move on to the next estimate. Go ahead, Jay.
I kind of have, but it's okay, it's no problem.
Okay, let's move on to
Question
the
is, are you looking for evidence to support your claim?
We got that. I just haven't moved on this. Unless somebody can provide some kind of counter argument. Alright, you might just got in, but you have
So was there a law or a policy of racial discrimination anywhere in Israel? Did anybody come up with an answer?
that.
So he feels that outside.
That's why I support this thing.
Yeah.
He didn't say apartheid. He said it was intention to dominate and inhumane, and it was systematic oppression
He did
outside.
say that all three of those things met the requirements for apartheid based on,
Yes, international law. Now listen,
international law.
is anybody, can anybody provide a counter argument? If not, we're just gonna move on to the next thing, the next claim.
Quickly though, I need a question. So Norm was talking about Gaza, not in Israel, like proper. No, you know what I mean? Oh, no, I disagree with him.
Okay, well, it's, I got it marked down.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Aside from it. Okay. Next.
Well, I was just comment real quick. It would seem like by that loose definition, practically every country in the world is apartheid, especially the entire Arab world, including the United States. So I think we're being a little dishonest.
What's an area in the United States where two people are actually in the same area?
You're on my show, the definition was a separate system. Have you ever heard that there's two different systems?
I have heard of places where people say actually actively respond when I was talking.
Systems in a
I don't know if you've heard that I was in the middle of your talking.
I think it is for the she asked anyone disagree with this assessment. So I started speaking, now you're cutting me off. So I asked the question and then you respond. Have you heard that there are two legal systems in the U.S.? Yes.
The exceptional here and his unexceptional nigger.
I didn't hear that, what you said.
Smokey. Yes, Your Honor. You make these gentlemen receive a $12,000 piece. $12,000. Pleasure doing business
I
with
think
y'all.
with Native Americans, they have self-governance in some area.
I hear you, brother, and I feel like you're trying to contribute in good faith, but like, you know, it is a little bit disruptive. Like I'm trying to.
Spending too much time on it, just go right ahead, pass.
I'd like to hear from the person who actually said it. You know what I'm saying?
I was referring to the different justice systems for African Americans versus their counterparts.
Oh, great. Yes, perfect. Got it.
And are separate territories, like Norm was mentioning, Zone A, B, and C, where reservations are under different jurisdictions, different laws than people that aren't in those jurisdictions. So that would seem apartheid as well.
Federal law though. Apartheid. Hold on, no, because we're having a back and forth. We're having a back and forth. By that federal law. Please don't keep it. So yeah, that's actually not anything at all. Like no, Native American reservations are not operating in an apartheid type of manner. It feels condescending to explain that to a grown adult. So I don't really want to go beyond that statement. That's a ridiculous assertion to make. Nobody is getting profiled for not living or for not being Native American when they're in a reservation. Like, that's not a fucking thing to happen. That is the most unbelievably bad thing argument you could possibly make in this scenario. Which is why, hold on, which is why I was saying that there's no point in an argument with science. So if we're talking about Africa, if we're talking about the two justice systems, so if you're talking about, shut the fuck up so I can finish talking. Excellent. Please remain subject to yeah, so when you're talking about two justice systems, I think that would be a great argument to make that America is operating under a highly oppressive state against black people. The thing is that there are not actual law, and again, this feels condescending to say to a grown adult because it's obviously stupid. There are not two literal justice systems in America. That is something that black people are trying to convince white people of a reality of an oppressive state that we live under in this country. So if you're arguing that, like, well, America is an apartheid state too, then I would say, cool, we might be a little closer aligned than you fucking think. But I don't think that that's the assertion that you're making. There are not two literal legal systems for black people. It's just that one group is persecuted more, prosecuted more, illegally arrested more than any other group in this country. But there are not two actual legal systems for black people. You gotta be a fucking idiot to think that anybody would even take that kind of argument seriously.
There's 3 points of aggression, but my main point was the Arab world is clearly apartheid, and I just threw it in the United States as an extra bonus. But your definition didn't say two separate legal systems. The 3 points specifically included power and oppression, correct? Of different ethnicity.
I was simply just responding to what you said, brother. You think about people I say you can't argue with science, these niggas are stupid.
No, but you responded by throwing in a fourth bullet point of your definition of apartheid.
I was, so that's my testimony on. I found out more about it.
Yeah, I don't understand what he's trying to say by complete.
I don't know either.
No, what I was saying,
It's already shit.
Maybe, I guess, the similarities between state and federal, between
All states have different laws from each other, but they all fall under federal authority, including Native American reservations. So no, you're incorrect.
He doesn't even know what his own point is that he's trying to make. Like,
Well, answer me this question. Would you say that the Arab countries are apartheid states? All of them.
I don't fucking care. We're talking about Israel.
Because no Jews, no news.
We're literally talking about Israel.
No, you're calling out injustice in apartheid states because until nobody is free, correct?
They are,
Give examples. Give your example. Give a quick one.
issue.
Exactly. No,
Right, so,
I mean, we can go ahead, I mean, if you guys really want to stay in the meeting and then we're looking for criteria.
I do think like a criteria would be good to,
I mean, it helps to handle
establish.
it out.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say.
Right.
I'm trying to. So, here it is. This definition is from the 1973 Apartheid Convention. I would imagine that maybe those are the name of apartheid. And it comes under the Rome Statute, which is from the International Court of Appeals, the International Criminal Court. And between those two, they established three elements for apartheid. Those elements are: one, intent to dominate one group by another; two, systematic oppression; and three, inhumane acts. Those are the three things that establish apartheid by international courts.
That is wild. And was anybody ever brought up on these charges and had the opportunity to confront their defendant? Very wild. And had the opportunity to confront their accuser and provide the evidence? Did that ever happen, or is this something that somebody decided ex parte? So, just wondering. For a friend. You're out of, you don't have any audio.
Which one of those points does the Muslim governments not do to the non-Muslims within the Arab world? It seems very obviously clear that the non-Muslims meet all three of those points of oppression, power dynamics, marginalization, violence.
Which
This will be one of them.
Non-Muslim populations within the Muslim Arab world.
Well, this will be one about Islam, right? Because
No, but the more fear is everyone's an apartheid. There's many apartheid states. You're kind of claiming Israel seems to be this lone, lost apartheid state in the world.
No, that's right. Nobody said that they're the only apartheid state in the world. We're talking about Israel right now. You want to talk about the problems answer? We can do that.
Yeah, the problem I'm hearing is the moment Rohan or anybody says, let's just narrow this down to Israel. I've heard people say, okay, well, let's talk about America. Let's talk about what they're doing in Yemen. Like, we're talking about a specific thing, and it seems like you're trying to obfuscate or distract us from the conversation.
No, I think what he's doing is he's halfway admitting that it's an apartheid state, but so is everything else.
No, I was trying to say I hear outrage all day long about Israel being an apartheid. Not once in the past 2 years heard any mention of not one Arab country being an apartheid state, given that you guys care so much about justice, freedom, and individual liberty. I just find that quite alarming, somewhat surprising. And I don't believe it's whataboutism. I believe it's a critique of your entire
Okay, Judas.
your values.
Jihadis, if you're right, we're hypocrites. Now what?
Hold on for a second.
I think it's racist and it's insane that you're going to go immediately to Africa.
So, all right, so listen, right now, I don't see any pushback on Israel being apartheid.
Oh, awesome.
And then, one second, Roman. And I guess if you guys want to, take this, and I'm fine with it, what Jihad said, I think what you should do, Jihad, is the same thing that,
No, I don't think Rohan gave the proof. He said separate legal system, and I pointed out the country have a one. Hang on. That's the only one he said, legal system. And I pointed out to you that inside of America, there's one legal system. Outside, we're not subject, like in Mexico, we're not subject to their legal system. I pointed that out. Outside of Israel, the Israeli citizens are subject to the Israeli legal system, and non-Israelis are not. That seems fair to me.
Yeah, I understand that.
They're subject, by the way, they're subject to Palestinian Authority